Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
We are excited to be back with all of you wonderful investors listening. Thank you for being with us. Today we have Kim Gillock from Denver, Colorado. Beautiful out there. She is a has a full-time job and has started an investment business on the side, her side hustle, as she likes to refer to it. We get into so many wonderful things today. What I probably appreciated most about this interview, and I think all of you investors will also appreciate, is really how she got started, because she's younger, she's got a full-time job, balancing a lot like all of us. But how did she really just take the plunge and get started? And her passion for real estate. I love that. We'll get into that and the why and all that good stuff. But I love, that her path and how she started with house hacking and all the good stuff that, we'll start with. So that was something that I think our listeners today are really going to appreciate. It makes it real, and it makes it doable, which I think a lot of us we get stopped because things just don't feel doable. They seem big. So we really break it down today to make it feel, and not make it feel, but present it in a way that's doable for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So she talks about house hacking, which I think that if you are a millennial listening to us, if you're not too, you should be doing this for sure. If you're getting started, this
Hands
is
down.
like a no-brainer. But she also gives like a really golden nugget about traveler nurses, and you've got to listen to it. I think it's just great.
Yeah.
Enjoy the show, guys.
Welcome back, investors. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, where we interview some amazing women. And by the way, welcome Kim to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah. We're looking forward to jumping into her story in a moment. But where we interview women, we have mini-sodes where we kind of talk about what's up. But what we're all about, and what our mission is to support women in this business and creating financially free lives and doing it in a balanced way, whatever balanced looks like to you, right? So that's what we're up to. And Andressa, you wanted to share a little bit, like get connected, and as you always do. What book are you reading? The 95 books that you're reading. You're reading this week.
Did I share this yet? I don't know if I did, but it's called The Seat of the Soul.
Yeah,
one of my top favorites. And I'm taking longer to listen to this one because it takes longer for me to digest it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very intrigued by it. But what I want to share with you guys, two things. First of all, for you guys that are listening to us, to our podcast, check out if we do have meetups around your location. If you don't see anything, protest on our Facebook community and request one near you. And join our Facebook community. We have almost 1,000 members as of today, and it's growing so much, and we have such a great support. I wish I had that when I got started, because another day somebody was, sharing their payment plan for the contractor, and we found a couple of, loopholes there that she's getting fixed before she gets started. So I love that, but that's not what I want to share today. What I want to share today is a conversation that I had with a friend of mine that I really consider him like a mentor to me. He doesn't know that, but he is. And has a ton of experience building larger developments. And one day this past week, we were talking about a possible development. And he said, let's just get under contract. And I was like, no, but we got to figure it out. All the numbers and everything. And he's like, we have some basic lines, basic criteria. If past that, get it under contract, and we will make it work after. So when he said that, I had like a mini heart attack. And I was like, what do you mean? You got to make it work. He's like, yes, you got to make it work after. Yeah. And then I kind of like, first, you're a little crazy. Second, you probably are saying something that you really worked for you, because clearly you have a ton of, your portfolio is very strong and you're doing very well for yourself. So let me understand like that perspective. And he's like, yeah, if you pass those basic criterias, get it under contract, and they make it work. He's committed to make things work. He said that process forces him to be creative and resolve issues and make things work. And I'm not saying for you guys to say, oh, I'm just on my first year, I'm just going to get it under contract and figure it out later. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for after you get some experience and you have your basic criterias on the table, that you open up a different, door for me and say, yeah, we should just lock this down as quick as we can. It did pass our criteria and really make it work. So everybody, what can we do here to make the construction numbers work, make the return to our investors work? It really like the problem is just like a good problem is like, okay, we have this great opportunity here. How can we make this work for everybody?
Yeah, that's great insight.
Yeah.
Great.
That was good.
Yeah. And when you think of that too, I think that person has something that all of us need to continue to keep in mind is like a great team, because in order to make things work, right, you know, having a great team is a recipe for that. So, and I'm sure that person does have a great team. So, that's the other thing that the women listening can keep in mind, it's not just the deal, but the team and everything. So no, that's great. Great insight, great suggestion, because we all could be a little cautious sometimes. So we got to keep moving forward, right?
Right.
So, that's awesome. That's great. Well, very cool. Well, Kim, again, thanks for being on our show. Really, really looking forward to hearing your story. And as we like to do, just share with the listeners, what propelled you to get involved in real estate investing? What kind of pulled you into this particular business?
Well, I guess I'm kind of like the rare person who just kind of decided to do it. Like it wasn't really an accident per se. The year I decided to get into real estate, I moved to Denver a few years prior. I bought my own personal residence and had been like house hacking my other bedroom. The market, that was like 2009 when I first bought. So then fast forward to 2012. And I was just kind of like, okay, I know what my mortgage looks like. I know what most of my friends are paying in rent. And I know that everyone I know has 10 friends moving here in the next 5 seconds. So I'm like, I just feel like this math should work out. I grew up just like, loving houses and loving, design and decoration. And I know that whenever I listen to like, big time real estate investors, it's not about like loving the house. Don't fall in love with the house. And that's important too. But I just really do enjoy house projects, house decoration, that kind of thing. So I was like, well, I feel like this should work out. Read a book that kind of helped me run some numbers, some basic numbers, and started looking for a property that year, and then closed on my first one in 2013. So that's pretty much how everything got started. And from there, I was like, well, that worked out well, and found bigger pockets, and then the rest is history. So, I mean, again, I don't have like a ton of units. It's like kind of a slow build, but still really proud of the ones that I do have.
Yeah. So house hacking. Let's talk through that a little bit.
For sure.
Because I think that's a huge opportunity for everyone, mostly, and especially, I should say, millennials, right? And it's, that's how Matt, my husband, got started in investing. And I was dating him at the time, and he had 2 roommates, bought a home, and because of the rent he had coming in, made $60. So that was his first taste of, wow, like this is powerful, right? This is like,
$60.
Yeah, this is $60, right?
And you're living for free.
The vet spit at that bar.
Yeah.
Oh, can I just talk about 1 second?
Yeah.
It's very funny. So
Yeah.
Lynn and I had a business meeting once near his location of this property.
Right.
So like, oh, let's just go to this like pub here. And then the guy at the pub said, I remember you.
Oh my gosh, that's literally 15 years ago. Yeah.
He's like, do you remember? It's like, I remember exactly what you ordered because you came here a lot, right? He's
Right.
like, yeah, you
He had a crush on you, I think.
So it's good when the bartender from 15 years ago remembers who you are. Like, think about how many times my husband would have to gone to that bar. Right?
do that. So that's where Matt spent his
life.
$60.
Yeah, where his $60, right?
That's
and then
right.
some. Oh my God, that's funny. I'm so glad my husband doesn't listen to our podcast. But so Kim, so house hacking is so powerful, and for those listening, Google house hacking. I mean, it is a phenomenal strategy. In a nutshell, is that in essence, you are living in the home. You know, it could be a multifamily, it could be a single family, but you are in essence owning, living in the home and renting out rooms per se, or renting out space to others so that it covers your mortgage and then some. Mm-hmm. It's the ultimate way that people begin in real estate investing, because it's really like a mini example of the power of income, right? Rental income. So when you did house hacking, walk me through that. Did you find a property and you're like, oh, I want a house hack? Or did you kind of learn about house hacking as you're living there? Like what came first? Because I think it's a wonderful way for people to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, when I first moved to Denver, I mean, I just was like, I've always kind of been like a nester. And so I knew I was going to move to Denver and pretty much buy a house like pretty soon thereafter. And I had plenty of space, and I just always had planned on renting out that other room. So I actually rented it out to a friend. It had kind of more like long-term, more like roommates, really. It wasn't even like an intentional house hacking thing. I just, obviously sharing expenses reduces your, overall expenses, allows you to have more money for your free time or travel, or whatever it is. So it was more just to like share expenses. I hadn't planned on doing it as long as I have. So 10 years later, almost, I've actually converted it more to like a furnished month to month. So it still feels a little bit more like my house. But I've honestly met like a ton of cool people, a lot of like traveling nurses, but just really all kinds of people. It's been kind of fun actually. So, and it is a great way to, reduce your expenses so you can save. And then, a few years later, like I said, I had enough money to where I was like, oh, like I can buy another property. So
I love that you're mentioning about the traveling nurses. That's something that we always focus on Airbnb as well. Because we started house hacking kind of with Airbnb, and the traveler nurses, they come to your location and they spend like 2-3 months. And to me, they are kind of ideal because they don't spend a day there and they come, they just sleep, then they go. I think those are like gold. What Kim is saying is just like gold. Write that down, because there's websites, there's Facebook groups, and you can reach out to them directly and just get that, quality tenant. And that's what we are looking for. Kim, how did you vet those people? Because people that are listening to us, they might like, oh, that's kind of like strange, or for liability safety purpose, that might be their concerns. Did you have at that time like a vetting process in place, or how did you
I don't particularly, I mean, like, I guess if it's someone who's not a traveling nurse, I do a credit and background check. Use a service called cozy.co, and they do it, it's easy, whatever. Traveling nurses, they're already background checked by the agency that is sending them. They get a pretty large stipend, like a housing stipend, in Denver, especially, or any large city where it's an expensive cost of living. They get like a whole housing stipend.
Yes.
So I know that money's there. So I really kind of more, it's, I am living with this person. So it kind of is, do we get a good, are we vibing? Are we getting a good vibe from you? I mean, kind of ask them like lifestyle questions. At this point, like, I'm not looking to go out and like rage and like get home at 3 a.m. and have you wake me up and the dog, and then it's crazy. It's more like, okay, can we enjoy some wine on the patio? Like, I don't, that kind of thing. So like, are we kind of a similar lifestyle? So I've been very fortunate and found really awesome, fun people. And, as it turns out, they keep helping me house hack. So.
But what's interesting too, with your profession, you're in the healthcare profession.
Yes.
So you know that profession really well. You know the we all know of nurses, obviously. I mean, not, and no moron doesn't know what a nurse is, but that's still part of your profession in essence. So you know that customer in essence, what that looks like. And I think that's really important, just to share that with our listeners, is that so many people talk about going after properties, going after markets, and going after like that. But we don't talk enough about, which is in like the true business part of this, is who do you want your customers to be?
100%.
Who do you really want your customers to be? And that's like maybe the 20th question that people ask, even if they ask it. I mean, some people don't even ask it, versus that being one of the first questions you ask, because that's going to dictate where you're going to buy, what the market is. And, without customers that hold on to, you keep paying customers, I should say, you're nothing in this business, especially if it's the rental business. So don't forget to ask that question. Our ladies listening, I mean, ask that question. Who do you really want your customers to be? Whether you're flipping, whether you're buying, hold, whatever, who do you need them? What do you like, want them, those qualities, obviously, you want them to have.
Exactly.
That's important, and
my friend Matt, he's in marketing and he does all kinds of business stuff. He's like super dynamic, entrepreneurial individual. And he's like, you're going to be successful because you know who you want to rent to. And literally every time I bought a property, I know who like my target demographic is. And I mean, obviously fair housing, you can't be advertising for this, that, or whatever, but you can kind of buy a house, fix it up in a way where you are attracting that person that you want to rent to.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I don't know if it was intentional, but that's just something that I was always doing with my properties. So
at least be mindful of it,
Yeah, because I mean, I don't have time. Like no one has time for bad tenants, but like with having a full-time job, I really don't have time to be like chasing checks around or dealing with difficult things that could have been prevented by having a better tenant. So that's,
and I want to pick back. I want to pick back on that topic. A lot of people use having a full-time job as an excuse why they don't invest in real estate, why they don't get started, because they say, well, I don't have the time. When I get home, I'm so tired. I still need to either, cook dinner for the kids or have other things going on. And some people that don't have kids, they just say, well, I just want to relax or do something else. But I want to talk more about the benefits of having a full-time job for the real estate, besides the W-2 that you're totally bankable. Bankable. Right? It's just like,
hashtag bankable right here.
Hashtag bankable. Please. Yeah, totally. And also, how do you make it work still having, a job? How it's been your experience?
I mean, I guess a couple of things as far as advantages go. I mean, one, obviously the bankable thing, being able to get a loan is super important. Else you can't really do it very easily. I guess also there's a little bit for me of comfort in knowing that like I have an income that's completely separate from this real estate stuff. So like if things were to fall apart, the market changes, then I'm not worried about like surviving, which is really nice. And that's a good thing for me at this point where I still, I'm kind of, even though I've been doing it for like 6 years, still kind of need that feel like I need that safety net. As far as making time for it, first of all, I'd say that like, I don't think anything else gets me as excited as talking about real estate. I love talking about it. I can talk about it all day.
Right.
So I think when you do have that like excitement about it, that it doesn't really feel like work to me.
Right.
It's kind of like, and whenever you're in charge of your own destiny, in the sense of my rentals, my real estate side hustle is going to like survive or die based on myself. Like, I don't feel like it's a job. Like, I'm excited to do it and I want it to succeed. So it's going, and I'd rather spend time on that than like most anything else. So making time for it isn't hard. I don't know. I've just never been a person to like, I'm not that into TV. Like, I don't sit on the couch that much. I'm pretty much go. So I like carve out time for this kind of thing. It's on my calendar. I know when I need to do certain things for certain properties. I have kind of a schedule. So I think part of it too is being intentional about your time and carving out that time like in advance, not letting, I mean, things are always going to surprise you. There's always going to be things that come up. But as far as my calendar goes, like I look at my calendar like the whole year in advance. Like, when am I doing my property checks? When am I renewing my leases? Like, so that I have that time built in already and I don't like get super overwhelmed with too much at the same time. I mean, you can never always plan everything. Of course, things are going to come up, but you can kind of do the best that you can do, and you'll make time for it if you want to.
I love what you said on a lot of fronts. And I heard once, and I wrote it down again here on my notes because it's just something all of us need to be reminded of, but you have to figure out why you want to do something. And then the how and the what gets figured out. I don't know who I heard that from. I'm sure I didn't make it up because it's way too clever for me to have made up. But I really love that because you said a lot of great things, but you said something really, really important. You said, it's not hard to make time for it because I love it. I'm passionate about it. And sometimes I'm talking to investors, current investors, I mean, people that have portfolios and newbies, and I'll be talking to them and I'll be like, why do you want to invest in real estate? And they'll look at me, or why are you investing in real estate? And if they answer to me is only about the money, it's only about that, that's hard to continue. And, so I say that to the women listening, you have to figure out why. Like why? Even if you're transitioning and you're flipping right now, and now your next phase is rental business, or you're an Airbnb and you want to get into multifamily. This applies to everything. But to be really clear on like, why are you doing it? Because like shit is going to go down. Things happen in this business.
Things are going down.
It's just not all roses and sunshine,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
it's not.
I know, right? I wish it was, but you have to have this very strong why to bring you back. I mean, I've been in this business for 15 years. I really sound like I'm like a 95-year-old, but it's been a long time. But it's true. Like, and I still love it. Do I love all of the things that have happened? No. Do I love every property to I want to just like hug? Maybe not. But I love real estate. I love what it could do. I love so many of the things that we've done. And that's, there's a passion there still. And that's what kind of fuels us and keeps us going. We refocus. Okay, let's not do this anymore. Let's do more of that. It's business, right? But if you don't have a passion for it, you don't know why you're doing it, then don't work in this business of real estate investing, because it's a recipe for disaster. So I just want to share that. The how and the what and the money and the deals and the team gets all figured out. But if the passion isn't there,
it's just not sustainable.
Not sustainable.
It's too much work. It ends up being, it feels like too much work then to keep going with it. Whereas if you have your why and you do like what it is, I guess this applies for like any career really.
Write it down, put it on your poster, like look at it every day. I mean, Andressa, what do you do to keep your why in front of you? Because I think it's so important.
I wish I could share my screen here. So one thing that I do is a vision board where like, and I did this exercise with another friend, like a couple of weeks ago. I asked her, what's your vision? And then she mentioned to me a couple of things. I was like, I'm not asking rationally. I'm asking when you close your eyes and you see that beach house, how does that beach house look like? That's the description that I want. So that's an example. And then I put all those pictures online. I can share on the show notes. There is this software application where you put all your pictures, right? That what you see, and it creates like a collage, and it becomes like one picture. And I put on my the background of my computer, so I see it every day. I see it everywhere that I go. But one thing that I wanted to share is that when you ask people, why are you doing this? And they say, well, so I can get X amount of cash flow. I was like, okay, you get the cash flow and do what with that?
Right.
The answer is your why. what are you going to do with that?
Yeah,
Don't,
that's a great.
tell me that you're going to spend on a car or something that is like, no, I want to know like what moves you. If you freaking die today, what that cash flow is going to do for the next generations, are going to allow them to do, to, you know, fulfill their dream of doing whatever they think that they want to do. Oh no, I want to, you know, bring water to places that don't have water. I am passionate about women that were domestic, got abused, or children, or whatever your situation is. So your why, go past that. The cash flow or the capital gain that you're gonna get.
Right.
Because if you don't have that, you got to get in touch with yourself to really like sit down and really like, oh, what do I care about? Really, like that's what this goes. And one thing, Kim, that you said, you're like, I don't get tired of it. Right?
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's energizing. Like
exactly.
Nothing gets me like more excited and like exhilarated than like when I buy the property. It's like so excited. Yeah.
I saw this quote another day that talks exactly about it. It says, people are not tired because they just work the entire day. They're tired because they're spending a lot of time on things that don't bring happiness.
Totally.
Little time on the things that do. So you spend time on things that really, it gets me so energized. Like those conversations that we're doing, you know, the meetups and all of that.
Absolutely.
Adds to me, gives me energy more than takes out.
Definitely. And that kind of goes to like anything where you feel like you're dragging your feet through the mud, like even when you're in your real estate business, like those are the things that, you know, you find other people to do so that you can kind of focus on the things that give you energy and keep moving you forward.
Yeah.
I have to say, I know that. I haven't put that into practice yet, but I know that.
Well, that's what I wanted to circle back with you too, Kim, is like, you know, you're growing a portfolio, you have a full-time job. You know, when you started out, or even the first few properties that you took on, what were your biggest mistakes? What were the things that, you know, as you look back, you've course corrected, or at least you're aware, right? So what were those things, those biggest learned lessons you've had, and how have you shifted those and really, you know, kind of helped you create a better portfolio business, you know, as a result?
Totally. I mean, I guess probably like a lot of people when they're starting, you know, treating it like a real business, probably doing too much myself, doing too much in the business versus like on the business.
Can you explain that, Kim, a little bit more?
Yeah, exactly. So, working in the business is kind of like you're the person on the ground doing everything. You go over there to clean out the pipe. You go over there to repaint the wall, instead of like how much are you going to pay someone to do that little thing versus like having those like few hours free to further your business, to, you know, listen to a podcast, to be networking, that kind of thing. And there's still, I think that I've gotten to the point with most of my properties where I kind of have a balance of that. Like there are still a few things that I do, but I try to focus more on hiring out the things that are just going to like suck my time and also make it feel like work versus things that I want to focus on.
What were a few of those things initially for you? Like, what were the first few things that you've given away, or have you gotten some support around? Is it like the maintenance stuff, or is it the rent collection or managing the property? I'm curious.
Pretty much it would be maintenance related things, at least for the properties in Denver. I've got 2 in Denver and 2 in Tulsa where I'm from. So, I mean, a lot of that in Tulsa, I do, I can't even physically literally do on my own.
Right.
So, other things I would say I've pretty much automated. There's not a lot still that I have other people doing for me except for maintenance stuff. Things that I have more or less like outsourced have actually just been me automating them, so it's not taking up like bandwidth in my schedule. So rent collection, anything related to like leases or signing, everything's online. Just, you know, trying to maximize my time away from the rental stuff, because I do have a life and I do have another job. So I have to make sure that those things are taken care of as well.
Definitely. And for the automation, are you using something very specifically for that?
Yeah. So all of my online like applications for rentals and rent collection is done through cozy.co.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using that now for probably 4 or 5 years, and it's fantastic. I would highly recommend it. I use mint.com for all of my finance stuff. They just pull in all of your credit card and bank account, everything. I do that once a month. I just consolidate all my finances. I had, as part of my like laying the groundwork for future growth, I was like, okay, I need to transition to QuickBooks. Everyone does QuickBooks, and all the professionals use it, and that's what I need to do too. So I got online. QuickBooks Online is pretty expensive once you start getting an account for like each property that you have. And I'm like, well, as I scale up, I can't have like 40 QuickBooks accounts. That's going to add up really fast, very unnecessary. But everyone said to get QuickBooks for your desktop. So I was like, game on. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be great. So I get QuickBooks this is like 2 weeks ago. I got QuickBooks for desktop. I just had a panic attack. Have you guys ever used that thing?
Yeah.
It was very overwhelming. So anyways.
Like, what the hell? Who the hell created this?
It was basically for an accountant. I couldn't even, I'm technically a millennial. I could not figure out how to import my transactions. I was like, panic attack. Okay. I got a refund like within 3 hours. And then I've been trying out this new program called Stessa. I don't know if you guys have seen it advertised. It's been having Bigger Pockets, and they found me on social media to advertise to me there as well. So it's actually assets spelled backwards. Stessa, Stessa. And it's basically like all finances for real estate investors. So it can kind of show you your whole portfolio, how it's performing, different metrics. And I've been using that for a few months now, and I've been like kind of like dabbling with that.
Okay.
And now I'm starting to kind of get into that more as probably how I'm going to manage my finances.
Would that be a
forward.
solution for QuickBooks or something similar?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, nice.
And that, at least from my perspective, a lot easier to use than QuickBooks for desktop. But
I love what you're saying, though, that you're laying the ground. And I think that, if you think about like the agriculture, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just lay the ground first.
Right.
And there's times to do certain things. And I think that having your vision very clear and really laying the ground first, it's like important and so essential for the success. My challenge is that a lot of people put pressure on the quantity of how many do you have, how, and one day I was talking to Liz about it in was a different concept, but it was really like, it doesn't really matter how many you have. You can have 100 doors and half of that does not cash flow at all.
Totally.
And you can have, a full, hand of those that cash flow very well. So at the end of the day, I think the question is a little bit like misleading. Having X amount of properties really don't do much, because I don't know your cash flow. I don't know your numbers. So it doesn't really mean much on that sense.
Right. Quality over quantity.
Yeah, right. Isn't it? So Kim, share with us where you're going from now. We know you have properties in Denver and Tulsa. Where are you going? So, we are always looking to connect ladies among themselves. So we always start asking what people want, where they're going, because connections are being made, and we're super happy about that.
Absolutely. I feel like, especially like listening to more podcasts, reading more books, as I'm kind of like laying the groundwork for what I want to do next, I feel like if I really do want to grow in this industry, I do need to scale to multifamily. So I feel like the next step for me is going to be something probably like in the 5 to 8 unit range. So I am looking to, like a lot of people, a lot of women, figuring out how to partner with somebody. I've been reading her husband's book about using other people's money to invest, which has been a very like meaty read. Like every chapter is a lot. That's been great. So basically figuring out how to partner, what that looks like for me, how comfortable I feel using other people's money, and whether I have the bandwidth to manage other people's money, and whether that's something that I can like reasonably do well. So mostly networking and figuring out how to get to the multifamily space. I know you guys have had some awesome guests on the last month or so, especially who are really talking about that transition to multifamily. So I feel like I am ready for that, and I'm just kind of laying the groundwork to make that move. I don't want to sit here and do too much analysis paralysis and like never make it happen, but I also want to feel like I'm personally ready for that next step.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's exciting because I think for, I'll pay you later for the shout out to my husband.
It was so good.
But no, it's such an interesting place because I feel like I think about my path, and Andressa, you probably have a similar path. Like there's things that you begin working on in your business and you buy a property, and then there's something else presented to you and it's new. And it's a little different. And so you're like, hold on, I haven't done this before, but you want to go there. Maybe it's a development, maybe it's flipping, maybe it's multifamily, whatever it is. But I think it's a common path for many of us. And I think the best thing you're doing is you're laying groundwork, but something that you didn't say that you probably don't even realize is you have all this already, this experience, right? So then the question becomes, what can I bring to that, you know, as I look for this, you know, 5 to 8 unit multifamily property, and what am I missing? You know, not missing. I don't mean that you're missing things, but what gap do I have? So what do I have that can fit what might be needed to go there? And what do I need to maybe develop or partner? Like you're saying, I think we always have stuff to bring. And then there's always those 1 or 2 things that we're like, this might be gaps for me, but where can I make that up through team, whether it's a skill that I just need to develop, like my underwriting skills, or what have you. So I think it's a very common versus where most of us sometimes get, I don't know about all of you, but what the women listening, you may feel like, well, I can't do that because I haven't done it, or it's very competitive, or, you know, you just put in these excuses or these reasons you can't do it. When really all of us are in that place. We're all always, we're doing this, and then this is something else we want to do. Right? Andres and I are doing that right now as we're building out this investor community, you know, and it's new territory for us, you know, so it's new to us. We've never done this before. You know, I've bought duplexes before. We've done that before, you know, so there's things we do, there's things we haven't done. So don't let that stop you. Women listening, don't let that stop you. Just lay the foundation and figure out what those gaps are and figure out how to manage those gaps.
Right. And part of it too, like, I mean, the first few properties, like you're just going to be learning a lot, and that's okay too. It's not, you can't know everything going into it, and that's fine. And I just, you know, especially for like moving forward, like just need to kind of channel myself from about 6 years ago. I didn't know exactly, I had an idea of what I was doing with the single families, and now I have a way better idea. So I just kind of got to have that same mindset moving forward into multifamily. Like I know what I know. Let's see what I need to learn. So you know, always a learning curve.
And there's a quick note about partnerships. We're actually, you know, the women listening to this, we are putting out webinars, you know, to our community, free webinars, you know, for now at least, but no, they are free. And what one of them is going to be about very soon is a partnership. You know, so we'll put it in the show notes. Maybe we'll plan this episode around when we're about to share that. But it's going to be actually a webinar about how to form partnerships, because there's so much of that happening in this business. And you can have amazing partners and you can have crooked partners. I mean, it can get that bad.
It's just kind of like choosing your tenants where you're, you know, if you have bad tenants that can make your life really difficult. And I'm sure probably even more so for a bad partner. So
totally. Choosing your life partner, same kind of thing.
Pretty much.
But
pretty much.
Kim, you've shared so much great insight. We really, really appreciate that. I love your journey. Looking forward to where you go, because you're doing some amazing stuff. Where can the ladies listening learn more about you, learn more about what you're up to, and keep in touch with you?
Probably the best place for a real estate discussion is Bigger Pockets. I'm on there as Kimberly Gillock. So that's me on Bigger Pockets. Instagram, Kimmy G0783, so KIMMYG0783 is probably two best places to connect with me.
Great. So we're going to add all of this information on our show notes. And now we're going to transition to our fabulous 3 questions. Are you ready, Kim?
I am ready.
All right. What's the most transformational book you have ever read?
I say, so besides Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which literally did change my entire mindset about life moving forward. I think recently I read a book called Never Eat Alone.
Oh.
And it's basically kind of like Liz's mantra of always be networking. It's all about how relationships basically form the whole world, and how that can really help to get you where you want to be. Not that you're ever looking to like use those things, like use anyone. It's just more like how you have those connections with people, and how that is able to move you forward and probably bring forth new opportunities you didn't even know existed. So kind of is like motivating me to be more intentional about networking, always be networking. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. The second question is, what's the most powerful routine you do to create a financially free and balanced life?
Say, probably how I use my goal setting and calendars together. I do a lot of goal setting like at the beginning of the year and check in with those pretty frequently throughout the year. And it's not just about goal setting, but it's also like, how are those goals going to get achieved, and how those steps move from the goal sheet to my calendar so that there's time to make those things go forward.
Love that.
That also kind of translates to like, also like, when am I making time for fitness, when am I making time for friends, and all the other responsibilities that all of us juggle every day. So
that's great that you're doing that, because it's just like an action, right? You just was like, oh, this is my goal, but what are the actions attached to it if we can break it down? That's great. The last question is, which women, famous or not, has inspired you the most?
Definitely, especially after Mother's Day recently, I have to say my mom. She's just the best. She's kind of like a business partner in a way. We both help each other with some property management stuff. Outside of that, she's a super entrepreneurial lady, super hardworking, kind, generous, and just great to be around. I've definitely hope I can aspire to be as amazing as she is when I am a little bit older. So
wonderful.
Mama Gail.
Well, thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for your, being on our show, your authenticity, and just, sharing all your good nuggets of information. Excited to see where you go and navigate here. So it's really, really good stuff. You're set up for success. No question.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me. I hope I had a few pearls of wisdom for people getting started.
Oh, 100%. Keep us posted.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Andressa and Liz. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.